Blue Gold, 9 Sustainable Development Goals, 9 episodes to discover inspirational stories about water. Episode 6, Generating Greener Power.
We had a very big problem in power consumption in Egypt 7 years back, but we had a very good plan and ambition, not just to overcome this problem, but also to be number one in the region in exporting the electrical power.
This project is to produce 650 megawatt of electricity in accordance with the environmental standards.
Despite the environmental pressure to reduce our energy consumption, global demand for power is actually growing and will keep doing so. What's behind our need for more? And how can we meet this demand while also taking action to combat climate change? According to the International Energy Agency, IEA, demand for electricity is increasing by 2.1% per year to 2040, partly because of population growth and partly because more and more people currently without power will be connected to electricity.
Water is the heart of the power plant. There are many ways to generate electricity, and all of them is depending on water.
As demand for energy rises, so will the power sector's water usage. How can we sustainably meet the ever-growing need for electricity?
People understand the carbon emissions as wrongly only in air. No, it starts from the ground. So it's water, earth, and air as well.
Goal number 13, climate action. Climate change is affecting every country on every continent. SDG 13 demands we take urgent action in order to combat climate change and its impacts by keeping a global temperature rise this century to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. At Veolia Water Technologies, they continue to develop a wide range of innovative solutions to reduce the environmental impact of water consumption. By optimizing their water management processes and focusing on water reuse and wastewater recycling, Veolia Water Technologies help their customers directly reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. In this episode, we will visit a plant in Egypt and discover how innovation can be central to a commitment in keeping our environment safe and clean, paving the way for a greener future. Let's travel to Assiut, a town on the west bank of the Nile River, about 400 kilometers south of Cairo, and first meet Emad Gamal Ragheb, the project manager of the Assiut Supercritical Power Plant, who is going to give us a quick overview of the project.
The project is a thermal unit to generate electricity with a capacity of 650 megawatt that operate under supercritical pressure, and it is one of the modern systems in generating electricity with high efficiency.
Water is at the heart of the power plant. Without water, there is no electricity production. For most thermal plants, large volumes of water are a crucial part of the process, cooling high temperatures and powering turbines with steam.
Water does 2-3 things. The most important thing is the use in boiler, because boiler heats up the steam. The steam is used to run the turbine. The turbine generates electricity, and then the water is condensed and goes back in a closed loop to a condition and goes back to the boiler. So the water is the heart of the power plant. My name is Ahmed Kamal. I'm Egyptian. I'm working in Veolia Egypt as a projects manager. I'm handling the industrial projects mainly.
By necessity, power stations all over the world must be beside a source of water, either ground wells, the sea, or a river, like it is in Assiut, on the banks of the magnificent Nile River.
Assiut plant is in the middle of agricultural land. If you look from one side, it's the Nile. From one side, some people are staying in homes and everything. And from the other two sides is an agricultural land. So we need to maintain as less pollution as possible. So we need the water going back to Nile as clean as possible.
In Assiut, as we hear, the water is drawn out of the Nile. As Ahmed Kamal explains, in such a geographical situation, it is paramount to lessen chemical consumption, eliminate chemically contaminated wastewater, and improve the quality of the water being discharged back into the river.
Veolia's job in this was to treat the water, not just treating the water, preserving the water. Because we take some water and we return back to the Nile. We're making closed loops for water. We're making the water reusable to be used again in the plant, not just throwing it away after using it in boiler, or in condenser, or whatever. We're making the water reusable again.
And one of the biggest challenges in this project was to treat the water resulting from washing the air heaters. Indeed, twice a year, the chimneys are pressure washed, and the wash water emanating from this process is highly polluted with heavy metals and other contaminants. In the past, this contaminated water would be disposed of in wastelands, but in Assiut, they decided they could do much better.
It was never done before to treat it. Our engineers were able to make a system to treat this water. It's a new system which helps to decrease the pollution because the water coming out of the air heater wash is too much polluted. So our system decreases this pollution to the minimum possible, make the water reusable in the Nile again. It's still under experimentation, but if it succeeds, it will be an example to use in all the other plants, even the old ones.
Veolia is one of the project contractors and is responsible for the project water treatment in all its forms. But treating polluted wastewater isn't the only pioneering aspect of the project, as Emad Gamal Ragheb explains.
Also, the project is equipped with a system to extract ashes from the flue gases before entering the chimney. This dry electrostatic precipitator is one of the most modern systems that is used in Egypt for the second time in power stations to preserve the environment.
90 million people gained access to an electricity grid in 2019. This is a historic record. More people on Earth have access to this form of energy than ever before, according to a report by the International Energy Agency. However, this can only be viable without posing threats to the environment. The power industry must do everything it can to keep greenhouse gas emissions to the lowest possible levels. Innovation has a central role to play in shaping the ecological transformation, like in Assiut Supercritical Power Plant, using cutting-edge technology to allow the recycling of highly contaminated water and the extracting of ashes from the plant's fumes.
The new project is an environment-friendly project, since the level of gaseous emission from the chimney, whether nitrogen oxide or sulfur oxide, is much lower than the values stated in the Egyptian environmental law.
We are trying to enhance the environment in Egypt. And if this succeeds, it will affect the plants all over Egypt. The innovation in Veolia is moving forward in all possibilities to make a cleaner environment.
The clock is ticking. Less than 10 years is left to meet the targets we have set ourselves. A decade for action, as the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, calls it. So, let's act today. We are all resources.